Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? No. Can you hear me? Test 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? All right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? This is weird. Why is he not hearing me? Why is he not hearing me? Can you hear me? All right. Can you hear me? You can hear me? Yes. All right. Perfect. All right. How's that? All right. Good morning, everybody. All right. What's going on? I don't understand why this is doing this. All right. All right. That's good. All right. Good morning. Can you hear me now? Yes. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I got a double feed. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the morning show with KahunaNui and Joey C.
How about now?
Yeah.
How about now? You hear me now?
All right. Something ain't right here. Something ain't right here. Hang on.
Here, let me try something here.
I hear you fine. Just hang on. All right. How's that?
How about now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Good. So, all right. I'm going to just do it for my phone. Can you hear me like this without the headset?
Yep.
All right. Good. Good morning, everybody. This is the morning show with CC Joe and KahunaNui. KahunaNui, what's happening, baby? What's going on?
Not much. I was just watching a couple of the morning shows and taking it all in.
Yeah, I popped over in Kai's room, and I popped over in Jason's room, and he's got Kenneth Pogue on this morning. The great Kenneth Pogue has made his triumphant return to the internet.
Now, he's been back for a while, but
Yes, I haven't seen him. It's the first time I've seen him.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been back for probably a month or so, but he's been pretty
Really?
quiet. I think he's maybe sobered up a little bit, but I don't know.
He can tie one on, brother. That guy can tie one on. You know that?
Yeah. He was on Uncle Jack one night, and Uncle Jack was asking him questions. He just reaches over, shuts off the computer 15 minutes in. There's times where he'll pass out and he doesn't even shut off the computer. God, he was a mess.
He used to DM me all the time and tell me, listen, I'm disappearing for the Dabbleverse. I'm disappearing for the internet. Don't tell nobody you're talking to me. And then he come on there and tell me stuff every day, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't want to know nothing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dang, man. He'll be telling me. Lou the God says, good morning, fellas. Good morning, Lou. Cordis, morning,
hey,
y'all.
Good show.
Look who else is there. Cordis is here. Send you tagged me. Thanks. Yes. Alpha Swifty. That's way better, hubby. Okay, great. Gaseous. But good morning, Miss Honeybee. How are you, ma'am? Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate that. Gaseous. Hello. Who else is we get? See anybody else here? No. That's it. How many men do you talk to, hubby? How many men do you talk to? What do you mean? How many men do I talk to? What kind of a question is that? How many men do I talk to? I talk to all kinds of people day and night. I mean, how many men do you have in your rot pocket a day? That's what I want to know. Can we start there first? Maybe we could get somewhere, you know? I mean,
you think Alpha Swifty is even a female?
I don't know. You know, it might be. I don't know. I'd have to say strongly. I would have to say no.
Whoever it is, I think it's funny.
I do too. I'm really starting to enjoy their humor, and I gotta say they're pretty entertaining. They're not better entertaining than this goofball here, you know.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's a good picture. That's the best he's looked in a long time.
Oh, he looks terrible. You know, someone asked me yesterday. They said, what's your take on him? Do you, health wise, do you think his days are numbered? And I'm telling you, the way I look at him and see how you see death in him, you could tell that the pace he's going and the way he looks. And I mean, good morning, Chelino, my brother. What's happening? He don't look good, man. And if
Morning.
he keeps this pace on, I call it by mid-January, he's out. He's sleeping with the fishes. You know,
Yeah, I don't know. If he once his mother dies, he's going to be lost.
for sure. But I think she buries him. I don't think he buries her.
Man, that's a bold statement. She's 87, man,
She's a
and he
lot healthier
treats
than
her
him.
like shit.
She's a lot healthier
He,
than him.
yeah, but she's not going to stay that way the way he treats her.
Yeah, well, I tell you what. So I haven't talked to a lot of my
Hey,
distant
Chelino.
Chelino, my main man is here. Ah, shit. Who we got? Got my phone? All right,
Oh,
my phone. All right. My second cousin, Frank, reached out to me on Facebook yesterday. He's an old guy. He's about 80 years old. He's my father's first cousin. He's my father's grandmother's sister's son. So that makes him and my father first cousins. Now, he's like 80 years old. He's at the gym. He's telling me at 5 o'clock, I'm heading out to the gym. I'm going to work out. You know, he's still back in Chicago. He didn't get out of the winter. You know, he won't leave there. He's as healthy as a fox. And he's telling me, I got to sell my motorcycle. Because I got to sell my Mercedes Benz, these guys. Got a real nice Benz. Because I'm just getting too old. I can't ride the motorcycle no more. And I'm like, I can't believe how great shape you look, Frank. I said, so let me get this straight, Frank. You're my father's first cousin, correct? He goes, that's correct. He says, your grandmother is your father's mother, right? Your grandmother's mother is my sister, is my mother's sister. He says, so we're first cousin. You and I are second cousin. So he's telling me all this family history that was really interesting because he's putting all the puzzle pieces together, the missing links that of distant family that I ain't seen in 40 years, and these people are still alive. It's like somebody answered like 100. They're still alive. I didn't even know this.
you guys should do one of those 23andMe things. Then you
What?
get the whole tree.
Right. I did one.
Oh, you
Yeah.
did?
Yeah. That's another story I'm going to get into. So I'm talking with him, and it's really interesting because I'm asking him questions, and and he goes, "You remember your great grandmother?" Yeah, Grandma Mary, and my great grandpa Jim came from Italy. He said, "That's right." And your great grandfather had a barber shop on Western Avenue. He was a barber. He came to this country and became a barber, and he opened his own barber shop. I said, "That's great," because I used to get my hair cut from your great grandfather was my uncle. And I'm like, okay. And we're talking. He goes, my mother used to do nails at the barbershop, but she was, a young woman. And he says all the sisters worked at the shop, and all the cousins worked for the great grandfather because that was all his nephews and nieces, and they all worked as young children. He used to always keep them around the shop and pay them. Just how you do that when you're like a great uncle. You throw money at your nieces and nephews to help them out, stuff like that. So he gave them all jobs. So that was interesting. So I just couldn't believe he's still alive, 80 years old, and he looks like he's 40 years old. And I'm looking at myself and I'm going, Jesus, he's in better shape than me. He might be going to my funeral. You know what I'm saying? Jesus, man. So this 23andMe thing. Let's talk about that. That's a pretty good. That's a pretty good thing. So I don't know, about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe, right after my father passed away. Now, for the last 45 years, now my mom and dad had 4 kids. I was the firstborn. My sister was second. My brother was third, and my baby sister was fourth, right? Now, after my mother got divorced from my father, her second husband, who she's been with for 49 years, she had a kid with him when she was in her late 40s, which gives to me my half sister. So
Mm-hmm.
as far as I've known for the last 40 years, I've had 4 siblings that were biological siblings for the same mother and father. And my half sister, that's with my mother, and her husband. My baby sister comes in and she goes, I need you to do a DNA test for me. And I'm like, what? This is like 5 years ago. And now take this note. My father never ever said anything nice about his youngest daughter. Now
I
she's the
think I
bright,
heard you tell this story once.
yeah. She's the brightest educational wise. Been with the same job for 30 years, getting ready to retire. Her husband is a union carpenter from Chicago. They got property all over the place. They invested their money. You know, their son just graduated high school, off to college. Her daughter went to college, made it through college, got married, got a great job. Her husband's a lawyer. Just had a baby, so she's a grandmother. I mean, they did everything right. You know, I'm obviously the black sheep, so I have high regards for my sister. And I go, what do you mean that? You need it? She goes, I'm coming to Florida. I'll explain it to you when I get there. She goes, you know how Dad always fought with me and always was really mean to me. And she looks just like him. I mean, they look like, she even has the same features,
I've
that little
seen that
split that he's got.
before. Yeah.
And she goes, he's not my father. But
I've seen that before where siblings look like their mother or father and they're not really uh parent sibling or
right. And it's weird.
not a son or
But
daughter of the parent.
he would always come to me and say, that little bitch, she ain't my kid. She ain't my kid. And I tell him, shut the hell up and talking to your daughter like that. I almost cracked him one day a couple years ago before he died. I said, don't be talking about my sister or your daughter like that. He goes,
So is he
that's right.
making an assumption or did he know this?
He was always throwing little digs at me especially throughout the time that when like I said, I didn't get to know him really well until I became an adult. But all throughout my adult life, every time he would throw a dig at me about her and something really, he would just throw something out there like to keep me guessing. And I would tell him, shut the hell up, don't talk about your daughter like that. And he was always mean to her. He never liked her. And so I just thought he was just being an asshole like he always was. Well, she did a DNA test. Turned out 100% he's not her father. And she finds out that some Irish guy from the neighborhood was her father. And he's still alive. He lives in Miami. So she contacts the guy and tells her, hello, so-and-so. I don't even know his name. Well, apparently, while my mother, good woman, she fought the divorce of my father for 5 years. Apparently, one weekend, and I remember this really well because I was about 9 years old. I remember my mother leaving for the weekend. She came, my grandmother was watching me, said, I got to go away for the weekend. She went on a weekend with this guy she met while she was separated from my dad. And she was briefly dating him, but none of us knew. It was like a secret. She was dating him for like 6 months, and no one knew. Well, my father came back into the picture right after about the 5th month that she was dating this guy, 5.5 months, and she always loved my father. So when she got pregnant, my dad was home for a couple months. I don't know what reason he came home. They were trying to reconcile the marriage, and he was giving in and going to try it. She got pregnant. So in my mother's eyes, all these years, and I believe my mother, I really do. We all do. We all sat down and we go, because when my sister went to my mother, says, Joe's not my father. And my mother told her, well, what the hell are you talking about? That is your father. How dare you say that? And she says, well, I just took a DNA test. And my mother says, well, DNA is wrong. They're lying. This is what my mother said to my sister. DNA is lying. You better go call them up and tell them they got it wrong. And my sister's trying to explain to my mother, DNA is not lying. And my mother's so old and naive and old school, she don't have a clue what DNA means or anything. You know what I'm saying? So she's arguing with my sister. So my sister goes, can you believe the nerve? I go, Fran, consider it. She don't know none of this stuff like this in today's world. I go, so my mom takes a couple weeks to think about it. And she goes, all these years, I really thought you were Joe's kid. And she told my sister about this guy that she was dating secretly that no one knew in the family because she didn't want to. She was, in her eyes, she was still married, even though they were separated. You know how it was back then. You just, you had to keep that stuff under the hush hush. And she really wanted my dad back. When the son of a bitch came back in the picture, she just assumed it was him that got her pregnant. So all these years, even my mother thought. So now,
So
my
she
mother's
knew
friend,
she knew who it was then, right?
she sat my sister down. She goes, "Well, if I've been checking out and reading about this DNA stuff, and I guess you're right. It's pretty solid. So I guess I better start talking then." So my mother goes, "I was dating a gentleman, an Irish guy from the neighborhood, and my sister goes, is his name this? Yes, and it was." I wasn't really in love with him, but he was a nice man, treated me nice, and I was separated from Joe, and he was, I really wanted, your father back. She stopped saying he's my father. He's not. She goes, and I never, all these years, I really thought that he was the father because you look so much like him. My mother was blown away. I was blown away. So I'm like, I sat down. The first time in my life, I scratched my head and I go, wow, all these years. Now, she's my sister. All my life, I've been around her. I don't give a hell what the DNA say. I don't now say, screw you, you're my half sister. You know what I'm saying? No matter what, that don't change with us, even though she is only our half sister. It just blew me away. You see how this shit happens when DNA came in and fucked up everything. I didn't want to know this in my lifetime. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's better to know the truth.
No, I don't
It
want to know
is.
this kind of stuff,
Yeah,
man. They fucked my
the
whole life
truth.
up.
The truth hurts. So
Yeah, but I don't care about that, man. That's my sister now. Now she's really only my half sister, the sister that
doesn't
I raised.
change anything. It doesn't
Oh my
change
god.
anything.
Fuck DNA. You better go fix that problem for me. Call them up and tell them I don't want to hear no more about DNA. All right?
Yeah, I think I heard you tell that story once before.
Yeah, that's a true story, man. And so my mother
Yeah,
now
with
she's feeling, huh?
go ahead. Go
My
ahead.
mother's feeling bad, and she's like thinking we hate her. And I call my mom, and this ain't your fault, Mom. We love you, you know. She was really down about it, and she goes, "You guys don't." I go, "Mom, you've been with three men your whole life, Mom. I mean, one 49 years, one. My father was a goof idiot. You were with him 10 years, and you're 25 years old, 26 year old. And no idiot in their brain would think anything bad of that. Plus, you kept it so secret. That don't make you a bad person. You did it the right way, you know." And she was really down, but now everything's all good. So, but yeah, my sister's husband was on a motorcycle rendezvous with his buddies a couple weeks ago. He got in a bad accident in Tennessee, and nothing happened to the bike. He broke about 6 or 7 different bones. Had to get brought back to Chicago. He had surgery. He
How
messed
could
himself
nothing
up.
happen to the bike?
He said nothing happened to the bike. The bike came out with maybe a couple scratches on it. Yeah, that's what he said. Isn't that amazing?
Jeez.
That happens like that. People get in accidents sometimes and they don't do a lot of damage. You know, he did a lot of damage to himself. So I bet you my sister told him no more motorcycle riding. I got to find out the scoop on that one. You know, you like motorcycles. You own a lot of them, don't you?
Yeah, I've got a lot of old '80s Yamahas. I bet I got probably 9 or 10 of them,
Yeah, you were
and I
telling
got
me that
a
before.
I got a Goldwing, 50th anniversary Goldwing that's got real low
Nice.
miles. It needs
Yeah,
that. It's been sitting for so long though. The carbs are going to have to get redone.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
the last year of the carbureted models. I wish I had one of the fuel injected ones. You don't have to worry about that carburetor
Right.
shit.
Does it got points and everything? The old points and everything with the carburetor?
No, no, they got away from points years before that, but
Yeah, yeah.
no. Yeah, the old '80s ones do. Those things, you can buy. You can find those everywhere with like under 5,000 miles on them,
Gold wings, man.
and
They're popular
the,
bikes.
the the carbs just need rebuilding. So
Right,
you buy them for 300, $400. I got
right.
my wife a really nice Yamaha XJ 700 Maxim.
Nice
Is that
bike.
85? 5 valve per cylinder.
Yeah.
That thing is a rocket.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Man. Yeah, I bought that thing for $1,000.
Yep.
We redid
Nice.
the carburetors on it, and she goes like a rape thief.
So she rides then regularly. She rides pretty good, huh?
She doesn't ride much either anymore, but I really want to get back into it. But I got to get my Goldwing fixed up. My dad's got a couple of Harleys. I could
Yeah.
take one of those
I
and
had
ride that for a while.
2015 when I finally officially retired and my disability came through. I had 5 years back pay that came with that because it was tied up for 5 years. So they gave me 5 years back pay. So I got a pretty healthy check when my first check came. So I went out and bought a Harley from a buddy of mine. He bought it from Wisconsin. Real nice dyno lowrider. He bought it. He paid. He told me because I paid 45. He customized the pipes on it. You know, he cleans up real nice. Put new tires on it. He goes, give me 55. I wasn't hesitating because the bike was just perfect. And the dyno lowrider on the Harley is one of the best bikes that cruising, the way it handles curves. I mean, you could go around pretty fast. It's a pretty fast bike, and it's just a good travel bike. And I just got rid of it about 6 months ago, you know, because after they stripped it,
Tolino says the Yamaha Shadow 1100 is a beast.
I
I've
heard.
got an 83 Yamaha 1100 XJ
Nice.
1100. It's a Maxim. I think the Shadow, Chelino, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Shadow is a 2-cylinder,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
my XJ Maxim was a 4-cylinder.
You see what
That
Dr.
thing
Chow
is
says,
so
right?
fast.
Doctor says, come
That,
on, man. You got to get a Ducati, not Yamaha. Come on, bro.
yeah, there's a lot of nice bikes out there now.
Yeah.
I got a customer of mine that just bought a brand new Triumph.
Really?
I didn't even think those were still made. That thing is just
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, I owned several bikes. I've had my motorcycle endorsement probably since 1993. I think I got it. So what's that? 03, 13, 30. I've had it for 31 years. My endorsement. I've been driving though a motorcycle. First time I got on a motorcycle, I drove a Kawasaki 100 dirt bike. It was the first bike I ever drove.
I had one of those when I was 11. I had
Yeah,
a
well, that's what my
Honda
cousin.
125.
My cousin had KZ 100 when he was like 10 years old. And it was a little, a little kickstart, and he'd always, when I was visiting my grandparents for the summer, he lived over there. So he would sneak over from his house, which is about maybe a good mile from his house to my grandmother's on the bike, pick me up. And my cousin Albert. And problem is, Albert was always 2 sizes bigger than me. I was short and small, and he was fat and tall, you know what I'm saying? So, but he used to sit on me a lot, beat me up when I was a kid, he'd get mad at me. And
that explains a lot.
Yeah. But he used to like that. When he'd get mad at me, he'd sit on me, And his mom would come, my auntie would come and tell me, Albert, get off your cousin right now. He'd be fucking crushing me, I wanted to pop him in the head a couple of times, but, I get in trouble. So, but yeah. But he
Dr.
got away with
Chow
everything.
says Kahuna in the car trade. Yes,
Yeah.
I am.
A connoisseur
My
of
dad owns a used car dealership.
Oh, really?
I used to be a car salesman back when I was 21 years old.
Wow. Back when salesmen were salesmen, car salesmen. And, used car salesmen, man, they sell you anything, man. A good one.
I was new cars back then.
Yeah. There's my dad, somewhere in his life, like I said, he was a police officer, fucked that up. He went out to Vegas where he lived for 25 years. He went into becoming a dealer. He got bored with that. But he wound up being a used car sales manager is what he became. And he did a perfect job for a guy like him because he was a shyster all the way. See, my father's gift to life, he had one gift. He was a very dapper man, well dressed all the time. He was dressed to the nines all the time, hair perfect, fingernails perfect, but he had a way with women. They would just throw themselves at him. That was his trademark. And he was married 5 times. And he married
Maybe
all
got other
ladies
stepbrothers and sisters somewhere.
Yeah, maybe. No, he never had any other kids. That I know for a fact. Because he had himself fixed. So, but he married a couple ladies that had children that were my stepbrothers, and stepsisters. But he always went after women with money, and they would give him any. I mean, he was just open his mouth. They would give him his bank account. That's what he was. He was a shyster. The guy was a shyster. He lived off everybody else's money his whole life. That's what he did. And
Yeah.
he was not a nice guy, man. But all in all, I love him because he's still my father, but I didn't respect him much. You know what I'm saying? I didn't respect him, but he knew that.
Even
He knew
before
privately.
even before finding out that he wasn't the father of your sister?
No, he left us when we were little. He never paid child support, sold the house from under us, kind of like John did to his family. He did it worse.
Ah,
He was worse than John, and he had a good. She was a police officer, and he comes from a good family. My grandparents, my grandfather was ashamed of him his whole life. My grandfather, my grandmother spoiled him, just like John's mother. She used to give my father anything she wants. He would go, Ma, and she would sneak money out of the bank account to him. He always got in trouble. He always owed somebody something. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he would get a gambling debt somewhere for 10,000. He'd go crying to his mother, and she'd bail him out. And my grandfather would find out, and it would cause big problems because he was just anything he wanted, he could get from his mother. That's why when my grandfather died before my grandmother, and she was diagnosed with cancer, he did the same thing like John's doing now. That's why I say I know I've seen this before. He started living with his mother, and knew they didn't have much time to live, and he was getting her slowly but surely to sign everything over to him.
well, yeah, that's a little shady, but there's a lot of instances where people have to move in with their parents because they're
He had a
failing
motive.
health.
He had a
Yeah,
motive.
yeah, yeah.
He had a motive.
My
He didn't care
my
about that.
aunt did the same thing to my dad and his brothers.
Yeah,
My dad had there was a total of 5 siblings altogether,
yeah,
and there was only one girl, and she lived with my grandma.
right.
And my aunt lived with my
Yeah,
grandma, and none of the brothers knew it, but she was getting grandma to sign everything over. My grandpa had already passed away. He was long out of the picture,
yeah,
and she ended up getting the house, whatever money was left of my grandpa's pension. Uh, she took everything, and
yeah,
and she used to be so dependent on my dad
right.
because he has the car dealership. He's always kept all her vehicles running. When I needed tires, he provided them with a lot,
Yeah,
and she pissed that all away. And now everybody's turned their back on her. She's totally on her own,
yeah,
and she's got to bother all these other people now. She's half crazy in the head,
right.
so she's
Crazy.
pestering everybody for shit, and she's the
Yeah,
talk of the town. You know,
yeah. He
nut
swindled her out of the bank accounts. My grandfather used to buy her a brand new Cadillac. Now the last Cadillac she had, because she died in '82, was a 1980 all white Fleetwood, the Fleetwood Cadillac, the big Fleetwood Brougham Cadillac, the real big
Yep.
old, and it was immaculate. It probably had 10,000 miles on it. And every other year he would get her, he'd get her a new car. My grandfather. So now he died in '80, so that was the last year we got her a car, and she died in '82. So he got her to sell the car. Are you ready for this? Talked her into getting a Mercedes Benz, right? Now my grandmother goes, I've been driving Cadillacs, I don't know nothing about this Mercedes Benz. So he talks her into it. He sells the Cadillac for cash money and winds up getting that cash. Puts her in a Mercedes Benz, right? She's driving to the store or the beauty shop or something one day. She gets pulled over by the police, right? Now, here's a woman that never went on a freeway. She used to drive all the back roads, the best woman in the world. Now, he was so shady. Are you ready for this? She calls my father from the police station. She's arrested for car theft. Yeah. These are family secrets I'm letting out because he's dead now 6 years. And it's time for me to expose his ass to what he really was.
So
For
where did
my
the
own
car
peace of
come
mind.
from?
He was part of a chop shop. They used to find the accident ones and switch the VINs to get titles for the stolen ones.
Yep.
Back in the 80s. Big thing in chop shop in Chicago. And he was working with a lady with the DMV. They used to find the wrecked ones for the same car that was stolen. This was a brand new Mercedes that was stolen, and he found a wrecked one. They find wrecked ones and switched it. Somewhere they found the VIN on the engine didn't match the VIN in the window, and the VIN on the engine was the one reported stolen. Right now, she
Oh,
is the wife of a retired Chicago police officer of 38 years. My grandfather, one of the most reputable police officers in the history of Chicago. Here's my grandmother at the station, and all the captains and everybody look at. Is that Joe's wife? They don't understand what's going on. So obviously she don't go to a cell because of who she is. And she's in the holding room calling on the phone to my dad, what the hell's going on here? Well, he gets there and clears her. And well, I don't know how he got out of it. You know, he was great. My father was the con man of all con men. This guy could walk away if he's got 20 Uzis in front of his face to be killed. He'll walk out of that room alive. I promise you that. That's how good he was. So, and that's one of the things he did to my grandma. Now her cancer is getting really bad, and the chemo is really making her sick, and she's in pain, and she don't like being sick, and she knows it's time. It's gonna be soon. He's putting LSD in her food.
What the hell?
Yeah, his own mother, to make her loopy because it made you crazy, and that's how he got the rest of the money and her to sign everything over to him.
Holy shit!
Right now she's gone. We bury her. He comes at me because the day I found out she passed away, she was my best friend. I kind of went into hiding. All right. In '82, I was 16 years old. I just got my driver's license. I was my school sweetheart. I was dating, getting pretty serious, and I was off at her house, upset about my grandmother. He couldn't get a hold of me, so he's cussing me. How dare you be away on your grandmother's death? How dare you? And we can't get a hold of you. And he's cussing me, and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let me, first of all, you don't get that right. You gave up that right playing daddy a long time ago. I was more of a son to your mother who loved me more than anything in the world, and don't even ever go there. So now comes the, grandma's buried off to the cemetery. Now comes in the sister, my dad's sister. They're going to start looking at all the assets. It's all gone. All the money's gone. He screwed his sister, her family, her children. He screwed me. I had a healthy inheritance coming. He spent it all, right? But now my great-grandmother, my grandmother's mother was still alive. She hadn't passed yet. You understand what I'm saying? But she was really old. And this is the guy I was talking to last night. My cousin was talking about his mother and my great-grandmother, who were sisters.
How old was your grandmother when she passed?
She was 62. So her mother was in the
she was young.
Very young, very young.
Wow.
Now, her mother was about 78, 79, and she was already flippity, senile, but she was still hanging in there. She hung in for like another 8 years. And we had her at the Villa Scalabrini nursing home, which is a top nursing home, Catholic nursing home that it's only Italian people go to. It's called the Villa Scalabrini. And my grandfather, when they were building that, had made how you make big donations, they put your name in the wall, plaque on the wall.
Yeah.
Or they name a wing. My grandfather had donated $75,000 to the new wing being built. So his plaque was there. So that's where she was. And she was under 8 years, but she was loaded. No one knew she was loaded. When she was younger, they came over from Italy. My great-grandfather came over. They came over and he became a barber on the barbershop. They used to buy stock in AT&T, Bell South. Although it used to be Ma Bell. You know what I'm talking about? It used to be, before it was AT&T. It was called Bell South, Bell North in Chicago.
Well, we had Northwestern Bell here.
Yeah, whatever it was. I mean, it was one of the Bell things, which really is what AT&T is today, because AT&T took over all that. You understand? Mm-hmm. She bought stock since she was like 20 years old in companies like that, Coca-Cola stock. And one day he calls me up. He goes, "Hey, I need you to go over to the apartment building and get all great-grandmother's mail. That there's a bunch of mail going there. I got to transfer the mail to come to me, but there's a bunch of mail that bring them." And he goes, "Don't be snooping through it." He says, "Bring it right to me." Right? So I see all stacks of, I'm telling you, stacks, buddy, stacks of envelopes from Coca-Cola, from Bell, Northwest Bell, all these big companies back in the day that you bought stock, and it was dividend checks. Each of those was a check. And I don't know how much money. I mean, the pile was this high, just in what was there. And she owned. Swindled.
They were checks that hadn't been cashed.
Checks that just came in, dividend checks that came in the last couple of months. They were still good. You know,
Oh,
'cause they're good about 90. They're good for about 90 days, I think. Stuff checks like that, maybe
right.
even a whole year.
Yep.
So now here's the thing. My grandmother had a brother who was a retired police detective, my Uncle Frank, who moved to Arizona, and he had a police department for 35 years. But he was a nice guy. So now his sister passed away. When his mother passed away, half the money would be his and half would be his sister. But because his sister passed away, the next in line would be my father and his sister. So my father conned him some way to say, "Don't worry about my sister. I'll take care of all that. You just give me my half that was coming to us." And I bitched about what the money he took from me that I should have got when I was young enough, because I was going to stay in school and I was going to go, I was going to do what my grandfather wanted. I'd have had the money, the capability to do it. It would probably change my whole life. So he's making me think like he feels sorry for me. So he goes, "But you're going to Vegas this year, right? You're going to take that job out there." Well, the winter of '84, I was offered a job out there with my godfather, but things got all screwed
Doing
up.
what?
I went to all the casinos, 1 hour a day I worked. Shops later, I go, like '84, it was after the Cubs season. It was my last year working in the locker room as a clubhouse guy, because in '85 and '86 and '87, I was still in the Cubs locker room, but I was learning to become the video guy. Because that was starting to take off, where they were doing video on pitchers and catchers, hitters, and stuff. The coaches would study the tapes, and they would go frame by frame with the pictures, my mechanics, if they were doing something wrong, if hitters had hold. It was a new tool that they were using, and I was learning that to become the video cinematographer for the team. And so I'm in Vegas, and things were all screwed up because all that happened with the Stardust and Lefty Rosenthal and Tony Spilaccio, where he was balling, he was porking the bomb. He tried to bomb his Cadillac and all that shit. So he's on the run back, and he comes back to Chicago. I go out there, and technically it was Lefty he left Vegas, and he went back to Chicago. So all the Chicago books that depended on me to call them every night to open the lines, what the open lines were, and that's how they started their gambling rooms in Chicago. So I do this, and I'm in Vegas. So my dad goes, "Yeah, you're going." I tell you what, he says, I'm going to authorize $5,000 for you to get from your Uncle Frank. I'll call him up, trying like he's doing me a favor. I'm going to his house because he goes, "You can stay at my house." Oh boy, that was a big thank you very much for letting me stay at your house. That you probably were behind in the mortgage, and I'd have been thrown out any day anyhow. So he's just, that's how he was. So my Uncle Frank, I get out there, he goes, "Oh, your father gives me an envelope, 5,000 in." He goes, "Yeah, your father said to give this to you. It's out of his end of your great grandmother's money, his grandmother." And I go, "What did he give me?" He goes, "I go, that's all that bastard gave me." He goes, "That's all he authorized to give me, nephew. I can't give you no more." So I call him up and say, "You know what? You're a fucking prick." I go, "I'm fucking starting out. I'm a young fucking man. You're an ass. You stole all my fucking money that my grandmother left." I go, "I want another 5 fucking dimes. And I mean it fucking now. And you better give it to me, or else I'm going to start singing to my fucking aunt." Which I wouldn't have done, but he goes, "Oh, you fucking going to be a snitch?" I said, "You don't fucking give me another 5 dimes, I'm going to start talking to the family." You understand? So I boxed him in. He goes, "You little fucking son of a bitch." He says, so he calls my uncle. So what do? I get into Vegas, and before I get to the house, I stop at the casino. I play craps at 21. In 3 hours, I lost the whole 10 grand. I was flat broke.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And I called him up, told him that I needed more money. I couldn't pay none of the light bills. I couldn't pay none of the deposits to get the house. And he goes, "What the fuck did I just give you to the?" "I gambled it just like you would, you son of a bitch." That's what I told him.
Can't argue that then, could he?
That's right. And I'm not sitting out. And he called on the company, the water company, the electric, and he paid all the deposits over the phone. You know what I'm saying? I was pissed off. That was the first stint that I ever got where I really gambled at the casino. And I lost tremendously bad. The whole thing. I was 3 hours.
I stay the hell away from those casinos, man. I went to one time back when I was maybe 35 years old, and I came out $61 ahead. That was the only time I ever left ahead.
Yeah.
I just stay the hell out. I used to go there for the buffets. That was it.
I used to bet horses. My grandfather, my the
Oh,
one that that I told you the story about the whiskey bottle. I used to hide the whiskey bottle. I told you he liked gambling horses, and he liked to drink his whiskey. So I used to go to a track with him a lot. So I liked horses. So from a young teenager, I was betting horses because he knew all the tellers. And in Chicago, you go up to the window, you got to be legally 18 to go to the tellers. You know what I'm saying? But you're like all family there. As long as you're being, cool about it. I used to go up there. My grandfather used to get a kick out of it. Send me to the window, knowing I can't really, they can't really. But his friends would let me,
I used to
give.
be a parimutuel teller at
Right.
Canterbury Downs.
You know what those guys
Yeah,
making? You know what those guys used to make? Those paramutual guys. They were union. You know that? They were
I
keeping the
was.
union. That you made
Yep.
big dough, man. You
Yeah, well,
guys
I
made
did
big
all
money.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, in
Yep.
Chicago, they're like $35 an hour or something like that. They made.
Well, this was back the second year Canterbury Downs was open. It would have been 85-ish,
Yeah,
86-ish.
yeah, that's right. I was going in there in I was going. I first went to the horses. I was like 8 years old. My grandfather died in '74. The one grandfather that my mother's father. He had a massive heart attack in the living room because he had Lou Gehrig's disease. I was telling you about the other day. So I was very young when he took me to race it. But then I started going back to the horse track when I became like a teenager because I started working at the track. That was one of my jobs I had. I used to go in the morning 30 and clean the stalls for the race horses, for the harness horses. And I also, like I said, here's me. There's me right there. I used to bring all the people down to the winner's circle in the Cushman cart. That's a young me. And that's an 80. That's an 88. So I would be, let's see, 65, 75, 80. I was 23 there. Okay. And that was my job. And if you see that, here it is. This is 86 when I came back from it. The Joey Catalano Classic 1. There's me with me in my work outfit. Daryl Bussey. I got to know all the drivers of the harness horses, and they're corrupted mother. They used to give me tips all the time. They used to tell me what to bet because they would fix the races. So
I
I'd always do I always do the race that was fixed.
when
I got
I
tons of pictures
when
like
I
that.
bought my first house, it was a twin home, and I
Yeah,
owned both sides. And one year, I rented out to one of the horse trainers
yeah,
out at the track where I worked. So he wouldn't tell me what to bet on,
yeah,
but he would just say, "This horse is working out really well." He
yeah,
had a really good week,
yeah.
and he was always big into the turf races, you know,
Right. Oh, thoroughbreds
inside
you're
the
talking
track.
about. Thoroughbreds.
He made me a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah. I uh I had this guy, this Italian guy, Greco. His name was Frank Greco. He was a painter. A guy. He had his own painting business. He painted houses, but he thought he was a mafia guy. He used to go around and tell people he was a connected guy, and he didn't know nobody. I mean, I laugh at him. I go, quit telling people you're connected because you're not. You're not a fucking made guy. And he goes, you're just a fucking idiot. And I was the one who could tell because I knew his. And he goes, oh, come on, man, just don't mess it up for me. I got all these guys on the wraps. I go, listen. I'm not gonna let you do that because that fucking makes all them guys look bad. If you associated because you're an idiot. You know what I'm saying? So, but he had money. He made a lot of fucking money painting houses. So he used to bankroll when I used to get tips. So he come up with I'll bankroll all the bets. You give me a signal. I'll be in the stands every night. When you get a tip, I'll bet it and I'll cut you in. I go, no. Here's how for. He wanted to cut me for like 20%. I go, whoa. I'm giving you the fucking horse. I get 50% or there's no deal. Oh no, I can't do that. I said, well, then bye. Have a nice life because I'm not giving you no tips. Then on Christmas, December 23rd, my daughter was just born, November 28th, my firstborn child. So she was not even a month old, and I was a young father, 17, and I was struggling. It was tough because I worked 3 jobs around the clock to pay for her to be delivered because I didn't have insurance. So I went to the hospital, gave me a sliding scale based on what I made, and they come up with a number that I had to pay before she was born. So I want to pay $6,500, I think it was, in full to the hospital. I had to make payments every time I got paid. I went there and made a payment, and so Daryl Busty, this guy right here that I showed you, the driver, and Walter Paisley, another great guy. They came up to me. They go, the 10th race. Walt Paisley goes bet at 8-1-5. Now Paisley's the 8 horse. Bussey's the 5 horse. Bussey should have won. He was the favorite. Paisley's horse is 40-1. He's a pig. And Paisley, you hear me, Joey? 8-1-5. Cold. There's your Christmas present. There's your gift from all of us to your newborn baby. Tell your guy to bet that. So for a $3 trifecta, 8-1-4. Are you ready for this? I think it paid $4,000 for every $3 bet. I tell the idiot to put $40 at 8-1-4, which he does. So $20 of it's mine, right? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. 6 times I had it. 4,000 times 6 was my end. Came in ice cold, 8-1-4, the 40-1 shot. Inquiry goes up. The state stewards throw the inquiry up. The flag goes up. They're inquiring. They're on the phone in the paddock. First they talk to Bussey. Then they talk to Paisley. Then they talk to the guy who was driving number 1. I think it was Dale. I think it was Dale Heitman. I think it was. It was either him or Dave McGee, one of the two. And they do their spiel like they're doing, and the judge of this eye in the sky is like, well, I don't know. We're a little concerned. How all of a sudden used to go breaking. You open the middle and the 8 comes flying through the middle. Be honest with you guys trying to do something here? No, the horse. Did you see the horse pulling? I couldn't control him. I had to get out of the way because I don't want him coming so fast behind. I don't want to get trampled on. And then the one horse, he was claiming that he thought he was breaking the biddle on the horse. He thought had broken the horse, so he kind of pulled back and it drifted. They both went like this, and the 8 stuck in the middle and got the win. Well, that was perfectly fucking. These guys were the pros at it. So they passed it. They keep this 8-1-5, and that was a big hit for me. Yeah, and that guy tried to screw me. Tried to tell me he didn't make the bet. Right?
Oh,
First yeah. But see, I know everybody at the window. I knew every teller at the window. And I said, did this guy took his picture. This guy come to the window? Yeah, he made a $40 8-1-5 bet, cashed it. Aha. I grabbed him I tell you what, he wanted to be a wise guy. That was the last time I saw that guy. I promise you. I never done business with him. He was a snake in the grass, but I got my money. I promise you that. And he was gone. He blew a good thing because if he would have fucking not tried to sweat me, he would have made a lot of money with us,
Yeah, I think there was a way that you could print that out.
Yeah.
I don't remember anymore, but
yeah. But they call it grooms. Grooms that take care of the horses. You clean the hay, you put the fresh hay, because the horses piss in one certain area in the barn. So you got to get that out. You got to clean their shit out, put new food for them. Some days you got to bathe the horse and comb them, and that's what a groom does. Every once in a while, as you be a good groom, the trainer will let you go out and jog horses on the track. And then I went out and I got one of them suits like that. I had the one-piece suit with my trainer's, initial on it, and I'm out there jockeying horses. And then I wind up moving. I lived in a tack house above the barn. They're called tack houses, and I was pretty popular with all the security guys, all the tellers. So I got the nickname I was the mayor of the backstretch because you didn't have cell phones back then. So everybody would have to call the security gate of the stable gate. And over the intercom, they would call anybody that lived on the grounds. So Joey C to the paddock office, Joey C to the security office, Joey C to the security. Every 20 minutes, I had a phone call coming in. Back then, I was wheeling and dealing all kind of shit, you know what I'm saying? Because I was in with all the boys. And that's the day I went down to clean my horses. I caught this fat girl she was in the same barn, but a couple stalls over, and she was doing it with a horse.
Well, they used to pay people to do that shit.
Yeah,
they used to pay people to do that shit so that the horse wouldn't perform.
Well, she was down and nasty with a horse. This was a nasty hoe, big old fat heifer, boy. Oh my God! Let me tell you that I didn't have to see that in my life either. That destroyed me too. You know what I'm saying?
So how long were you two married then?
No, I wasn't with that. I mean, they were the same barn, but a couple stalls over. And she had a reputation around the track to stay away from that pig. Stay away from that. She was one of the. So I was a pretty clean cut guy,
So what was her purpose there? Did she work there?
Too. She worked in the stable too with her horses, but she did a little bit more work than took care of the horse. She worked the horses out all right. You know what I'm saying? And that's nasty,
That
man.
was a common thing. I don't know
It
if it
was
still is or
common.
not, but that was common because that would make the horse not perform
Oh,
either that day or the next day.
you know,
It was a tactic.
yeah. I was a stand-up guy from the time I first hit the street as a young teenager. I did a lot of shady shit. I did a lot of illegal shit. I wheeled and dealed and stole a bird. Whatever made me a buck. If I got a shipment of a guy dropped a truckload of stuff that accidentally fell into my fucking front lawn, and it was reasonable, I buy it and piece it out. I had put stuff at flea markets. I had Melrose Park Police Department in my front pocket. I knew every cop there. They were all tied in with the boys. They were all outfit guys, brothers or cousins. So I had a good thing going by the time I was 18 till 26 that, I did really well. I did a lot of stuff. I wheeled and dealed with everything. Anything that made a buck, I did. You know, if it was moving merchandise, drugs, I don't care. I didn't look at it like
Yep.
that. I looked at it like I'm a
I was
businessman.
doing the same thing.
I'm a businessman. This is all business. I didn't hurt kids. I didn't go hurt innocent people. The scum of the earth, they were degenerate gamblers that got beat up and their legs broken for not paying their gambling, that they deserved it. The idiot, degenerate drug addicts that were needle users and they were worthless. They were gonna go get it somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So who gives a shit? You know what I'm saying? I didn't care
Big
about that
Boss is
shit.
here. Now
Let's
we can get
interact with the
started. The
chat.
Big Boss is finally here.
Let's get to our chat room. We're 51 minutes in, and I'm not going an hour and a half today because I got some things to do. But Gashin says, "Cats in the cradle and the silver spoon." That's right, Gashin. Morning, Big
Morning,
Boss. Good morning,
Gaseous.
Joey Bona. And then
He was
someone
in
took a.
he was in Jason's chat last night. I
Wait a
think
second. Oh, Vince.
Big Boss was there too. Both Gaseous and Big Boss were there. Oh,
Vince
Joey,
just
you
sent me a
locked
message.
up.
He
Oh,
just sent me
there
a
you are.
message. He's listening to our show from the pool at Disney World.
Who is?
Vince the lawyer. He's here.
Oh yeah.
I like Vince. I don't care what anybody says about VTL. He's all right in my book. Vince, you got to
I think
call
he's
me after
funny
my
as
show. I
hell.
got to get home
He
by
does a
20
good
minutes.
show, but
He does a great show. I mean, come on.
he's
Oh,
a
yeah, he's a
he's a good
troll.
guy at a distance.
But I like him. I like Vince. So let's get through this. Actually, I was conked out last night, Gasher says. Big Boss, morning, Joey. Going out. We said good morning. Someone deleted the Polar Bar Burrow's message. I don't know what it was. I don't care. If it was deleted, they must have had a good reason. Corder says he painted houses or he painted houses. That's right, buddy. What kind of guy was he? He painted houses. Mason, of course, the boys. What's up, Mason? Polar Bear. Every message this guy Polar Bear was sending, they were on top of it. He must have been really trolling hard. L Omega Red Boy, who's been with us the last couple of shows, great guy. I lost the plot, Chelino. Just follow me, brother. Just know my plots there's no plots. All old stories and true stories of my experience, buddy. If you need a recap, you know how to get a hold of me. Just give me a call. We'll shoot the shit. Chelino, and this connects to the checks. The checks. What about the check? What checks we're talking? The checks that I was
You were
arrested
talking
for.
about the stack of checks that
Oh, with my grandmother. Oh yeah,
somebody had,
I
and
was done
we
talking
ended
about my
up
dad.
getting off on either
Yeah.
motorcycles or I think we got off on Vegas.
Yeah. I was done with my dad in the story because I told you the end result is he robbed everybody, cheated his sister out of everything, and he was just not a nice guy. He was a money grubbing, hungry con man that got his way his whole life. And I just when I became the older I got, I just didn't feed into his bullshit.
He was giving you shit because we were jumping around on different subjects.
Yeah, I know, buddy.
I like to hold up shiny shit for Joey to see, and he loses his train of thought.
I love these guys. Real Short says, Joey, it's so cool to see you support the LGBT community, having a trans partner on your show. Oh my God, are you a tranny? I didn't know
I
that
guess
about
so.
you.
I didn't either.
Wow. Well, thank you, Red Church. We do just support the LGBTQ, and we're glad you are approving that. Joey owns 51%.
Do you know what you call a lesbian on fire?
No.
LGBTQ.
Oh, all right, that's cool. Articulate John says it best. Joey owns 51% of AT&T.
I don't think you got it.
If I own 51% of AT&T, every one of you that have been supporting me You would never have to worry about paying anything the rest of your life. I would flip the bill for all you guys for the rest of your life. If I had 51% AT&T, we'd be set for life, all of us. I would share the wealth. That's the kind of guy I am. Cholito says, TBK, just here to hear Joey's stories. Thank you, brother. Cholito, I really appreciate that, brother. Was it like the homie Tony put his mom in? Wait a minute. Was it like the home Tony put his mom in? Tony, I'm lost there. Who's Tony?
I don't know.
I'm not sure what he means about Tony. You talking about John? I listened further. Sounds like MK Ultra kind of shit. I don't know who MK Ultra. Who's MK Ultra? Is that another podcast? I don't know.
Yeah, I think I've heard of
Joey, yeah. Anyway, back to my story. I got a lot of them. Joey's grandfather was the best. My grandfather was. God almighty, I miss my grandfather, man.
Oh, Cordis was thinking maybe it was Tony Soprano.
Oh, you're talking about Tony Spilotro. You're talking about my godfather. Is that what you're talking about? I think that's what
Yeah,
you're talking about. Tony Spilotro, my godfather. I got lost there for a minute. But who would, Cholito, he was the Tinder swindler before the Tinder swindler. That's correct. Very cool, Dr. Chow says. Cholito, a blackjack dealer like Shuli. He tried that. He became a blackjack dealer. Yeah, he was, he got bored. He didn't like, the bottom line is, he just wanted to get all the money for the wives he had. You know, and I mean, I watched his last wife before he got back with the wife that I considered my stepmother. She was a saint, and he married her, divorced her, and then remarried her for his. So really, he was married to 4 women of 5 marriages. He married his second wife, which really was the love of his life, and they got back together. And she died a few years after they got together, and then he passed on a few years later. But that was the love of his life, and I was happy he wound up back with her. She didn't put up with his crap. She kept him in line, you know. But his wife before her had a lot of money. She was in Vegas. Nice lady. Met her one time. She was loaded, and he would just have to look at her and give him those eyes, and it'd be like into her purse. Here's the fucking checkbook. Here you go. You know, he just had a way. I don't know how he did it, man. He was a shyster, man. That's for sure. You know. Kona is the car trade. Yes, he is. JK, laugh aloud. It's 8-8. I don't know. It's at 8. It's a 8. Okay. The Yamaha Shadow 11 is the best. He's a beast. Now, what's the fastest street bike? Do you know what the fastest street bike in history was?
Commercial manufactured.
Yeah, it was a street bike people could buy. It was
Yamaha had a.
No, you're off. You forget about Yamaha, pal. Now I don't know about today.
Yeah, I don't know.
They got nitrates. They hook up the KZ1000, the 82 KZ1000, the fastest race street bike in history. Okay, back in those days. I don't know about now today. I don't know if it can still. There's a couple motorcycle places in Florida here that sell used motorcycles, and they got this guy. This one guy's got one in cherry condition. And it's just in the showroom. It's his baby. He don't ride it no more. It's in mint condition. He fired it right up when I was there, but he don't let nobody ride it. He don't ride it no more. It's a classic, worth a lot of money. It's kind of like the Grand National car. They only made so many of them.
Yep.
You know, the Grand National is like worth the big money. The KZ1000 was the fastest street bike through the 80s and 90s. I don't know about now, because now you put nitrates on it and they can make the bikes go crazy fast. But hands down, nobody can whip that bike. Okay, and then you remember the 750 Kawasaki as well. Was a pretty quick bike too. I had a 750 Kawasaki. I owned a Yamaha. My first bike was a 1969 Honda 350. I bought it from a guy that was getting ready to go in the Army.
My first one was a 1974 Honda 125 Elsinore. It was called.
Yeah. Like I said, the first bike I learned on was my cousin's little dirt bike, the Kawasaki 100. And then I had the first all-terrain cycle vehicle. They came out with an ATC 90. Honda did. It was a 3-wheeler, not a 4-wheeler.
Yep. There's a lot of them still around.
Yeah,
a lot of them around here.
That was the first. I used to get around.
I got a buddy that's got 3 of them.
Yeah, ATC 90.
Do you remember the Honda Odyssey?
I do. Yeah.
I got a buddy that same buddy's got a Honda Odyssey.
Yeah,
that thing is fun.
I'm trying to think of this one car. Remember, I was telling you a story about the owner of the car lot, the rich guy. Jesus Christ. Sun City called me. That's all old people calling me for. You know, Sun City, Florida is all retirement community. The hell they bothering me for? You know, probably the wrong number. Um, Marshall Lutz, the guy that was the cocaine guy, the owner that I used to, the guy that had the house. I go there and I deliver, and he wait till I get zooted up, and he died. Everybody's got to go. He had a car that every one he owned, he was buying them. I can't remember. It was a shit little small car. And he would buy them when they were junked, if they ever were on the street again. And he put them in the storage lot. And I can't remember the car was. But every time he had a chance to buy one, he would buy it. And they were all junks. He had about 15 of them in this secondary lot, the storage lot that he owned. And they were just laying there. And he goes, it's my favorite car in the world. I think he had one when he was a teenager. And they didn't make it no more. So every chance he found one, he'd buy it. And he wasn't restoring them. Or maybe he hated it because he got it when he was in high school and he wanted it because he was the bad apple. And maybe his father taught him, gave him that car, gave Michael the better car. And that's why he probably bought. I don't know this backstory, though, why he did it. But I can't remember the kind of car what it was. Damn it. Oh, I can't remember it. I wish I could remember it. If I told you the car, you would laugh because it was a funny looking little car. And they didn't make a lot of them. And
what vintage?
oh man, I don't know. They were probably from the 80s or maybe 70s. God bless it. It was a little car. It wasn't the
Oh,
AMC.
not a Yugo.
No, a Yugo. No, it wasn't a Yugo. And it wasn't the AMC Pacer. Remember the little AMC Pacer?
Gremlin.
It wasn't a Gremlin. No, it wasn't a Gremlin. It was
Pinto.
a what?
Pinto.
No, it wasn't a Ford Pinto. No.
That was my grandpa's car. He had 4 Pintos.
They're dangerous, those cars. If you got in an accident, got whacked in the back, the gas tanks exploded on those things.
Yep.
They sure did. They exploded, man. We got hit with them.
No, I don't. There were so many cars back in the early 80s.
Yeah.
I can't imagine any of them being collectors.
God, I gotta remember. Damn, I get a hold of Steve Forrester. It was a foreign car, I think. Foreign name, a little car. It was a little crappy car, man. I think it was a foreign name, if I remember correctly. God, I wish I could get a hold of someone from those days and find out. They would know, man.
So it wasn't something simple like a Honda or a Toyota?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't something simple like that. It was a rare car. It was like a little crappy car, man. Damn, bless it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember. I don't know who I could get a hold of right now to call. So yeah, so you guys remember we called my friend Big Frank the other day, and I asked him about the gay monkey on his back, and he says, "What you doing with that gay shit? I ain't about that gay shit, you know." So Frank's backstory is: do you remember Sean Penn's first movie that he filmed in Chicago when he was on the streets of Chicago, and he killed the kid, the Spanish guy's brother? Someone help me out with the name of that movie. Back in the 70s, Sean Penn did a movie where he was in a reform jail, in a youth jail, where the guy got himself arrested to go kill him. They fought. He wound up taking the guy out. But what's the name of them? Bad Boys? Not Bad Boys. I think maybe it was Bad Boys. Was it Bad Boys with Sean Penn?
He wasn't in Bad Boys.
No. There was he did a Bad Boys before they did the Bad Boys. I think it was called something.
Oh.
Yeah. Let me see. Sean Penn movies. Let me look this up. This is anyhow. So I'll tell you the backstory a little bit about Frank. So Sean Penn. Oh, Jesus Christ, I can't even freaking spell anything right. Sean Penn's movies. All right, so let's see. I think it was called let me see all his movies. You know a great movie he did? Sean Penn did a lot of great movies, but this would have been, let's see, I need a list of all his movies.
Dr. Chalice said it was Bad Boys.
Was Bad Boys? Was it Dr. Chalice? Am I right?
So does Mason.
There it is, Bad Boys, 1983. Bad Boys. See it?
I didn't know there was another movie by the same name.
Yeah, but the one with that Will Smith did and Martin Lawrence, they were cops. This was Bad Boys about teenagers, gangbangers in Chicago. But he wasn't a gangbanger, but he got a lot. He was the Irish kid in the neighborhood, but tough Irish kid, and but he was a thief. and he was robbing. Him and his buddies were robbing something one night, and this gangbanger's Paco, his name was Paco. The guy went by Paco. His little brother, Paco was out making a big deal with the drugs, and his little brother was curious to follow him. And these guys were running from the law, and they lost control of the car, and the little kid got plowed down. So Paco wanted him dead. So Paco started out by raping his girlfriend, which was Ellie Sheedy was the girl. I think Ellie Sheedy played in the movie, one of her first movies. So Paco rapes her, so he get arrested and go to the St. Charles Reform School, which was the bad place. That's where all the youths went in Illinois. St. Charles was it was a prison for youths. Frankie was there when he was 16 years old. He's actually, when they're on the softball scene out in the field, Frankie D, they're yelling. Frankie D he would just hit the ball and he's running and slid into second base. He's got a big old afro. Frankie was put there when he was 15 or 16 years old because he was a big time gangbanger since he was 9 years old. Wind up becoming one of the biggest leaders with the Maniac Disciples from Rockwell, Potomac. Frankie was a big time, one of the big shot callers in Chicago. Okay, I knew Frankie for 40 years. We knew since we were little kids. We grew up in the same neighborhood. So I always had him in my pocket. So I know whatever messed with me. First of all, they knew who my family was. I was Italian. So they weren't going to mess with me there. And to have a guy who was a big leader in the Disciples, plus I knew Shorty King, who was a leader with the Latin King. So I was covered at all angles. So I could walk anywhere. That's why I was so successful and on the streets as a young guy that nobody ever messed with me, because two of my best friends, one was a leader with the Kings and one was a leader of the Disciples. And one, Shorty King got life in prison, 2 life sentences. Frankie D, that's the only time he went to prison was when he was a youth, because every time he got arrested for anything major, he won in trial. Because in Chicago, Crook County, if you got money, you could buy anybody in Chicago. You could buy a judge. So Frankie beat everything he did, so he was big time. And so he's old school, though. Frankie, I like fucking with him because he's the only person that pretty much from my childhood, friend-wise, that I really communicate on a regular basis. I mean, he'll come here and see me. I'll go visit him, But he's crazy motherfucker, man. I took him to work in the baseball locker room in 2010. Now, because he was going through some shit. So he called me up. He said, "Man, you got to come get me out of Chicago, man. If I kill me a motherfucker here, man, you got to come get me, man." He had went to jail county time. I didn't hear from him for 4 months. So I looked him up in Chicago at the jails, and there he was with a mugshot in Cook County Jail. And no one would bond him out. So when I found him, I sent bond money to bond him out. I put his cell phone back on, and I go, "What the fuck's up, Frank? We've been gone for like 5-6 months." He goes, "Man, I've been locked up, man. I didn't have none of my numbers. I didn't know." All right, so we get him out, and he started getting back. He started doing heroin real bad, and he was strung out bad. He begged me, "Please come and save my life, man. Come and get me." I said, "I'm on my way to Oklahoma for baseball season, man. You want to come and hang out there? You can work. I'll put your ass to work, clean you up, and you're gonna work in the clubhouse." I go, "You're a Latino, and I got a lot of Latinos on my fucking team, so you could listen to what they speak Spanish to see if they're talking shit about me and translate to me if they're talking any smack about me, so I can know, how to fucking deal with these guys." He goes, "Perfect." So I have a guy pick him up, and I got this guy coming from Detroit because he was with the Tigers, and the Tigers fired him. And I gave him the job to run the visiting clubhouse in Oklahoma. And his name was Chris. We called him Chris Darko. He was like Dracula. When the team was on the road, he'd sit in the locker room, never leave the locker room, even on the off days. Never spent money, food on the outside. He would eat like a peasant. He would buy little cans at the dollar store, tuna packs, or those little camps. Those little.
Maybe he was living there.
He was living. He didn't want to get a place. It was cheap, so I let him live in the locker room. But he never left there. So he was like Dracula. Every time he went there, he was in the dark. He never had the lights on, right? So he picked up Frank, and he told me, "Well, I don't know. I'm not driving around to meet nobody I don't know." He said, "But if you want to tell him to be on the highway at the end of the ramp at this exit, if he's there, I'll stop, pull over, and pick him up." So Frank's there with a suitcase. I go, "He's a big old dark guy." I go, "He's Puerto Rican." I said, "It'll be a big old guy." Pick him up. Frank said he gets in the car. The guy don't say 2 words to him. He don't pull over he gets gas. He don't stay to get nothing to eat. He just gets the gas and leaves. Frank said he didn't eat the entire trip. The guy wouldn't talk to him, and that's how he was. The only one he talked to was me because he knew me. So Frank and him tied up during the season. Frank come running to my office and says, "If you don't get this motherfucker off me, I'm gonna put his ass in that commercial dryer, and that motherfucker gonna die in that motherfucker. I'm gonna kill him. I'm telling you. And now, when Frank looked at me the way he looked at me, he would have killed him. I had to pretty much stop Frank from killing this guy. He was gonna kill him and put him in a fucking dryer. I had a big old commercial dryer that he was gonna stuff the fucking body in. And I'm like, Frank, chill out. So I'm telling him, why do you fucking antagonize this guy? I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing. And Frank goes, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker. So Frank, I cool him down, and the other guy, I want to fire in the other guy. I sent him back. to Detroit because there's too much just drama. So I get Frank all clean. He's feeling good. Give him some money. Pay him pay him pretty good wage. I got a condo. He's staying in the other bedroom. Now he wants to go out. And he wants to be normal and hang out at the clubs. He meets this fucking heifer girl that he falls in love with. Right? And he's telling me, oh, ain't she beautiful? Hey, motherfucker, ain't she beautiful? Look at that bitch. Ain't that bitch? That's my bitch. That bitch fine like a motherfucker. I'm like, Frank, and she's fine for you, brother. It ain't my type, man. I'm here about business. I don't give a shit. Hey, oh, that bitch. And then about a month before the season, now he's healthy. He wants to go back home to Chicago. So I'm like, the season ain't over. I need you. So he ducks on me, and he breaks this person's heart because I guess she fell. And I'm like, it's like a fucking soap opera at my condo. He's saying goodbye to. I'm like, oh my God, give the fucking Dear John letter and go. Here's your fucking plane ticket. Get the fuck out. Leave me alone. Take your fucking heifer with you and go. You know. And he's like, oh motherfucker. And that's how he talks. You know. He'll call me up and go, what's up, bitch? What's up, homo? You fucking fag. What's up, bitch? Yeah, that's how he talks to me. When I say to him, I go, you're a fucking homo. I said. You know, and nobody could talk to him like that. Anybody goes up to him, talks to him, he would just clock. But that's this kind of relationship we have. So he's supposed to be coming here in a couple weeks to hang out. This could be interesting. I'm gonna have him on the stream. This is how I'm gonna trap him on the stream, and they're gonna see him, and we're gonna talk to Frank live. He said, "I ain't
Do it live.
I ain't going to no motherfucking podcast now. You ain't get me on that motherfucking podcast." Motherfucker, I ain't talking about nothing I did, motherfucker. I incriminate myself, bitch. He said, but I'm going to get him to talk about some of the good things without incriminating himself because I know everything he's done. And I told him, you got to trust me. I'm your best friend in the whole wide world. You got to trust me. I'm not going to hurt you, buddy. He's scared. I tried to put him on a stream 8 months ago, and he was on with us on a stream, but his phone, he didn't know how to do it, and he was on a job. I don't know if people remember. He came on briefly. And he was the air conditioner guy in Wisconsin, and he kept going in and out. The phone he kept having to come back in with the link, so we wound up scrapping that day. But he got on for a couple minutes on air. I got to find that episode. That's he'd be a great fucking back. He'd be a great story to tell for the Dabbleverse. You know what I'm saying? Another nut job entered into the Dabbleverse. You know what I'm saying? You know, we're all nuts somewhere. You know. Big bosses. I thought, okay, Jim. Good catch, baby. It's Dalish. She normally says those. Oh, you guys are great, man. You know, Mrs. C, you guys had a great show yesterday. Got a couple memberships. Miss Kitty, she's wonderful, ain't she? She just keeps donating memberships and memberships. That lady's always at work, hardworking woman, and just keeps donating and supporting us. Just like your ass, you're one of the big supporters. You're loved. You carry us. You help us in so many ways. I mean, what more can we ask for? What would you think I would change this for the world? The small group of people that we got in our lawyer to come and watch us every day, and we picked the best. We got the best wrenches. We got some good wrenches, good people that come here. I'm very happy.
Yep.
You know, and you know. Like people say, they tell me all the time, keep doing you. It'll come, Joey. You guys are going to evolve to be really good. You keep this pace up. Like you said, you got me. You're good for me because you keep me in line about let's stay consistent with the morning show. Let's not, that's the key. And that's one of the biggest complaints that people make. Great show. VTL says, great. Thanks, Vince. We love you, brother. One of the things that their main thing is don't schedule a show and change up or not show up. Stay consistent because people like you. Even the haters want to watch you. You're entertaining. Yes, you're not a comedian. You got no resume like that, but you've made a name for yourself where people do like you, and the haters even want to watch you still. So just do you, be consistent in all. So I'm not rushing. I stopped rushing things 6 months ago. I started just learning, listening to people like you when you give me advice, or Mason and Portland, or Dr. Charles been me from day freaking. Dr. Charles been with me since day one.
Yep.
You know what he made me
Yeah.
promise him? When you make it big time, bro, make sure never forget me. I'm right there with you, one of the under. I go, Dr. Charles, you're the first one next to me. Are you kidding me? You're gonna be part of the entourage. You're gonna be my main man. Dr. Chow's been great, man. I've done a lot of streams with Dr. Chow. He's been on our show quite a bit over the last year. I love his help. I love the Mega G, man. He's a good dude, man. When I first heard the name Dr. Chow, this is how green I was. I thought he was some Oriental old doctor. I swear to God. I'm looking at these names and I'm trying to picture what the name means. So I thought, oh, it must be a Dr. Chow. He must be a Chinese guy.
You can't assume shit by names. Look at me.
That's how green I was. I kid you not. So when one day I see him on Ski Master show, he's got Dr. Chow. Like, oh, I get to see what the doctor looks like. I go, and it's a young dude, man, a hip dude, man. I'm like, that's Dr. Chow? And he was talking about, because he used to rate the Dabbleverse, all the shows, Dr. Chow. He used to come out with these lists and rank all the shows and the upcoming, and he was saying good things about me. He said, Joey C, he's really coming to his own. He's got some dope shit that came out this week, and look for him for the future. He predicted this, Dr. Chow. I was like, that day I was mentioned in his weekly thing that he did, and then I'm like, well, damn, man. And then we were like, man, you really think these fucking names mean like, I thought he was a real doctor, man. I thought he was like a Chinese dude, man, Dr. Chow. And that's how I used to, when I look at names, like, yeah. And then one name, there was a guy that was I guess he was a bad guy. There was a guy that used to troll us. He had a name of some militant guy who killed a lot of innocent people. And he used to come in my chat room and they go, look that name up. And I looked it up, and sure enough, it was some kind of mean guy, man, that killed a lot of people, man.
Yeah, I don't remember the name, but it was a name that somebody used to trick John into saying the name.
I can't remember. It was some kind of samurai name. Some kind of samurai name, man.
Oh no, that's a different name then. This was an old German Nazi war guy.
No, this guy was like he was like some type of and I looked him up, and I read his whole backstory. The guy was like a leader and he was not a nice guy. He killed a lot of innocent people. And he was I think he was Japanese, I think he was Japanese. And this guy trolled me so bad, he told me, because I used to go off on people that, when they used to come in the chat room. And if they had a Japanese name, I would bounce on their nationality. I would, just how we were in the neighborhood of Chicago. You slanty-eyed prick, I would say shit, shit like that, or like, I used the word for Jewish people. I used to use the other, what they're called. I used to have nicknames, like a wop is a fucking wop, Italian's a wop, I even bounced on myself, a Jewish guy was a JEWS, a German guy was a crop, an Irish guy was a Mick. That's how we did things in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So I got fed at this guy, and he had me convinced that he was some big shot guy on YouTube, and he was gonna report me for making fun of Japanese people. And he had me going. This guy had me going, and then finally. Shuli had enough. He goes, you gotta learn this shit. You gotta start learning what a fucking troll is and what a spoofing is. And I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking? Kahuna, and to God, I was the dumbest, greenest guy when it came to all that shit. I went on here
I was the same way when I got into this.
But I was an open mic. I didn't give a shit what I said. I went back at some of my older videos. I'm like, God, you should see some of the things I've said.
I think one of the things we should say now is adios, because I've got to get to work here pretty soon.
All right, well, guys, I appreciate you guys' support. We're 300 and over 300 members. We got to keep that. We got to keep you guys interested to want to stay here more from the beginning to the end. I'm looking at the statistics, and a lot of people pop in for like a short length of 5-6 minutes at a time, leave for a while, come back. We want you guys to stay all the way through with us. So whatever we got to do to make you enjoy us more, so we can blossom to keep climbing the ladder slowly but surely, to keep you interested, so you guys will want to be members. You know, tell us ideas. Tell us what you expect. I read every comment, good or bad. I read. If you email me, I interact. I'm very good about that. Kahuna, go ahead and do your plugs. I want to thank everybody and hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow, 9:00. You can go ahead and do the plugs for everything. I don't have to plug that. You do everything. You cover everything. So,
Alpha Shot Lounge Mondays and Wednesdays at 10. Right here on the morning show every weekday morning at 9. And then Cut of the Jib channel, Lunatic Lounge Mondays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Andrew, No Filter with Andrew, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday at 7 p.m. Hackride's channel, Hackride Studios, Lunchbox with DJ Electra and Friends, Catch 22, Unboxing Eric the Midget. Great channel. Go check him out. And hit me up on Twitter at KahunaNui952.
yep.
That's about
There was
it.
one thing I wanted to ask you. I saw you guys last night on Bored to Death, and Andrew came on, and he's fighting with one of his best friends.
Yeah, I wasn't. It's more Shayna drama. You
So
know,
his
him and
girlfriend.
Shayna. No, they broke up over a week ago already. It's
So
almost 2 weeks now.
she said something to him like it was that was to make him really upset that the other guy was a real man or
Yeah,
something.
he's trying to stay friends with her, and I think he just needs to cut those ties. That
Man, oh man, you see how
Jeffro,
cool they are though.
is
When you break up with them,
that
you see how cool they are.
that Jeffro, he's pumping her head full of shit, and now it sounds like there's another guy, and I feel bad for Andrew.
Me
He's
too.
really
I
getting him.
heard a little bit about it. I felt real bad for him, man. It goes to show you
Yeah.
how evil women could be when they break up with you. You see how they are? They torment you. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
like
one
that.
plug I forgot was JBX's channel.
Oh
Bored
yeah,
Half to Death last night was freaking hilarious.
it was pretty.
Did
I watched
you
part of it.
did you see when Monotone Matt was on there?
I saw when one guy came on, the first guy. I don't remember his
So this
name.
Monotone Matt, he's another Howard Stern
Yeah,
caller, you know,
right. Yeah, I
and
think I saw part of his stuff. I don't know nothing about
he's
him, but
he's got the funniest laugh.
yeah,
Just listening to him laugh will crack you up.
yeah.
And
Yeah, I
he
watched a little bit
was
of it.
talking over people last night, and finally Jason, he was starting to have enough of it.
Yeah.
He started making Matt's box smaller and smaller. Pretty soon, he was like a 16th of the box the rest of us were, and you could just barely see that there was a guy in there.
That's
And then he
funny.
started turning his volume down, lower, 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 and everybody else was communicating. You could hear Matt getting pissed, and he's trying to holler over everybody. All you hear are these little squeaks coming out of his box. He got so pissed off, and then he just dropped out and he went in the chat and started bombing Jason with
Yeah.
F-bombs, and oh god, it was so funny.
Did you see your
So funny.
2-minute video that you did, the crazy one they made of you? I downloaded it, put it up on the channel.
I sent it to you.
Yeah, but it's getting a lot. I think it's getting a lot of views.
Oh yeah,
I think
I
so.
put
Let
it
me
on my
see.
channel yesterday, but
Well, you got right there. There you are. See,
I think everybody's seen it already.
I think that's hilarious. I love it.
It is. Every time I watch it, I laugh my ass off.
Well, I got it monetized. That video's monetized. So whatever
Really?
pennies are coming in for that video will be your money.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, yeah. They approved it this morning.
Yeah, Hackride turned part of that into a super chat thing that they play after super chats. You know.
I probably should have checked with Hackride since he created it, but no one said
No,
they
he
had
didn't
any
create
business.
it. He didn't
No?
create it.
All right,
Nope.
all right, all right. Because I put
he
it up on
he
our
put a
channel, you're
spin
part
on
of the channel,
he
and they
he put
monetize the
his
video. So
he put his own spin on it on
okay.
his channel.
I just want to step on nobody's toes. So if I got to talk with anybody, you might have to divvy
No,
up.
Terry Nee is the creator.
Well, then I'll talk to Terry. If we get any revenue in, you split it with Terry. You know, we'll make sure he gets his. I don't do that. I didn't know who created, but you're with us, so it's you. So I took a chance and put it up as a video, and it gave me the monetization. It wasn't on. I turned it on, and YouTube approved it this morning. They left it on. They were going to prove it. They said no, it can't be monetized. But since Terry is the original creator, we'll let him know now the right thing to do, because I like Terry. I got a good rapport with him. And whatever they give you pennies on a dollar. The more views it gets, the more money it makes. So if it gets like 10,000 views, you get a little piece of change every month for it. You know what I'm saying? So
what's 10,000 views worth?
I don't know, maybe $50 or something. I think, or something like that. I don't know. You know, consistently. You know, I
better keep working then.
Right now, it's getting like 2 cents a month. You know what I'm saying? At the rate it's going. You know, but
I
I
better
would
keep
definitely
working
make sure
then.
he gets half of that money. You know, for that video. So.
He'll get a
got nothing to do with me. I just think it's funny. So
it was funny.
All right. So listen, guys, we hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to talk to Vince because he's so organized at doing a show. And even though Hackride's busy, I don't want to bother him. I know he's got so many things to do, and he would stop what he's doing to help me. But I don't like to bother him because he's so busy. Vince is on vacation. That thing we wanted to do where we got 4 or 5 subjects we're going to do, like the show layout, and then every show is where you could put like, let's say from 100 to 110 is one segment, and you could ink each segment of the time frame they run, where people I forgot what it's called, where it's all organized. I'm going to ask Vince how you do that. This way we can start labeling the shows, and we can start with our intro, start with our morning talk, go into a couple of bits, what we're going to be talking about, a couple of things we're talking about, like you suggested, the right way, like you're supposed to do it. And then we'll have a wrap up, and then we'll talk about tomorrow's events, and then the wrap up, and then the finale. And then people could just go to the video that if they only want to see a certain segment that they like, we'll have it already where they can just go right to it. It'll be broke down in segment. I forgot what it's called, man. But
Sounds good.
Because even Christina, I heard her tell you guys, she wants to start having a format. She wants to start planning. It's hard winging. Me, I just got so many crazy stuff in my head. It goes pretty good for me. But like her, she's like, she gets, like she's saying, I want to be more planned. And you even said it, because if you got subjects, then you're prepared. It's like trying to wing stuff and trying to think of what to talk about. She said it's getting hard for her because, you guys got all communicated. Me, I'm just going to ramble off my stories. It's going to work. You know what I'm saying? But, and I got about probably 5 years of stories, so I'll be good for the next 5 years, So I think if I'm alive.
Then you can start them over.
Start them all over again. But I got to get it with Vince. Vince, when it comes to podcasting and doing a show, he's very good. And I probably
Are we going to be backstage after this is over?
Yeah, don't leave yet. I think no. Okay. I don't know if we will be.
All right.
Will we? I don't know if we will be or not.
I don't know.
I don't know if it'll kick you or not when I end it. If
let's find out. Otherwise, I'll hit the link again.
I don't know if you can't re-hit the link once the show's over. What you could do is I'll send you the link for StreamYard real quick, and we'll talk right there if we go. All right, guys. See you tomorrow. This is CC Joe, Cook County Joe, and the Great Big Kahuna with the morning show with CC Joe and Big KahunaNui. We love you guys. Thank you for all your support. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Have a good day, everybody.
Bye-bye.